Does the thought of GRE reading comprehension make you shudder? Are you worried about losing out on your target GRE score just because of those confusing RC passages and questions? Well, with as many as 20 questions, which is about 50% of the GRE verbal section devoted to reading comprehension, how you perform in this section is actually detrimental to making or breaking your GRE score. My name is Donna David, and I'm a GRE and admissions expert here at GRE Edge. Today's video is all about ensuring that you get a perfect score on the GRE reading comprehension section and is the first of the GRE Edge RC series playlist. So without any further ado, let's quickly get started. Before we begin though, I want you to know the 3 steps to follow to arrive at the correct answer of just about any RC question. It's as simple as identify, eliminate, and attempt, which means identify the type of question being asked, eliminate the answers one by one using the pointers you learn in the following lessons, and of course, just mark that correct answer with confidence. Now, in today's session, you'll learn how to identify and correctly answer the first of the 4 types of reading comprehension questions. So what are these 4 types of reading comprehension questions? Let's take a look at them one by one. Number 1, factual. These are the type of questions that require you to draw information from only what's stated in the passage or select the correct meaning of the word that's found in the passage. Number 2, inferential or assumption type questions. Now, in these questions, you need to draw meaningful and logical conclusions based on a comprehensive understanding of the passage content. It requires a degree of opinionation or judgment based on the facts that's stated in the passage. Number 3, critical reasoning. As the name suggests, these are a test of your logical thinking or reasoning abilities. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit tricky, as these questions don't ask you what, but they ask you why. They may even require you to extrapolate based on the relationship between 2 passage components and draw parallels with other similar situations. Number 4, based on overall understanding of the passage. Now, these questions may require you to assess the author's tone or evaluate the overall context of the passage to arrive at the right answer. As discussed today, we're about to dig deeper into the first type of questions, that is those of the factual type. Now, these, as the name suggests, are questions from facts that are found in the passage itself. For instance, questions like what is being expressed or which of these words is closest in meaning to a word from the passage. Now, you might be thinking, what's so tough about that, right? Well, there are 3 common pitfalls that snare students in fact-based questions. The first is getting confused by similar yet factually different answer choices. Second, spending too much time hunting for the statement in the passage. And lastly, not understanding the meaning of words that are part of advanced GRE vocabulary. Need a better understanding of what we just said? What better than learning through an actual example? Here's an example of a GRE-style reading comprehension passage. Feel free to pause the video to give it a good read, and then let's try and attempt the questions that follow. So what are the main facts that one must make note of from this passage? 1, that people are buying more of everything that they actually need. 2, that United Kingdom abounds in clothing items, with more than a quarter of it lying unused. The author also makes note of the fact that the world's oceans are polluted with plastic waste and how a cleaning drive yielded several thousand articles of clothing, electronics, and appliances. Now, here's your question. Which of the following is true of this line from the passage? The United Kingdom in 2013 was home to 6 billion items of clothing, roughly 100 per adult, a quarter of which never would leave the wardrobe. First of all, how would you identify which question type this falls under? The dead giveaway is in the first line of the question itself, where you're asked which of the following is true of this line from the given passage. Hence, it's made clear that one of the given options is definitely true and that your answer lies in the given line from the passage that you just read. So you instantly know that you're dealing with a factual question. Now let's take a look at your options. Option A, a booming textile industry in the UK. Option B, gross wastage due to consumerist behavior. Option C, irresponsible waste disposal methods are polluting the oceans. Option D, greed of all adults in the UK. And option E, indecisive nature of people in choosing their clothing. However, with all factual questions, the answer lies within the given snippet. So how does one go about answering such type of questions? At first glance, every option seems correct, don't they? Well, here's the deal with factual type of questions. It doesn't matter if all options are right, or maybe even logical to presume. The correct answer is only one, which is explicitly stated in the given snippet of the passage. So these type of questions don't test your ability to decode what's given in the snippet, but only to choose what is explicitly stated by the author in the snippet. Let that sink in for a while before we start eliminating the incorrect options one by one. So do you have a hunch on what the correct answer could be? Hold on to that while we analyze each of the options one by one. So here's the first option, a booming textile industry in the UK. Now this option is obviously incorrect because the given snippet, or for that matter the entire passage, does not talk about the state of affairs of the textile industry in the UK. So you can safely strike that off your list of contenders. Coming to the second option, gross wastage due to consumerist behavior. Well, a quarter of 6 billion items of clothing lying unutilized does amount to wastage resulting from consumerist behavior that leads people to buy more than what they need. Couple that with the rest of the passage that talks about the amount of waste generated in the world, which actually then begins to make sense that this might be one of the probable answers. So let's hold on to that for the moment and come back to it after we analyze the rest of the choices. The third alternative is irresponsible waste disposal methods are polluting the oceans. Now this might make sense when you look at the entire passage, except that this option too is incorrect. The reason being, nowhere in the given snippet do you find a mention to waste disposal methods or the pollution of the oceans. In fact, what it does convey is the number of clothing items that UK has and what part of it remains unused. Therefore, you can safely strike this option too off the list of contenders. Now let's look at option 4, greed of all adults in the UK. What do you think about this option? Let's take a look at the passage again. Did you find any such mention of the adults in UK being greedy or gluttonous? No, right? Such blanket statements are usually incorrect. Therefore, you can definitely add this option too to your list of incorrect answers. Now let's look at the last and final option, indecisive nature of people in choosing their clothing. So if you think this option makes perfect sense, you're not the only one. After all, only when one is indecisive about what they buy, they actually leave it unused. Haven't we all been there? When we buy something that really looked good on us in the store, only to realize a few moments later that it doesn't particularly look that great. So now that we've successfully eliminated 3 out of 5 choices, we're left with option 2 and option 5. So what do we do now? What could be the tiebreaker in this case? The key here lies in reading the rest of the passage and evaluating the central theme of the passage, which in this case is about the amount of garbage generated worldwide and not the indecisive habits of people. Kudos to you if you guessed it right the entire time. The correct answer is option B, gross wastage due to consumerist behavior. Keep in mind that each question typically takes about 1.5 minutes to solve, which also includes the reading time of the question. So speed is of the essence here, which also comes with sufficient practice. To get that kind of practice and to know more about how to crack tough RC passages, we've left a special ebook in the description below. And that's a wrap. We've come to the end of today's session where we learned how to identify factual RC questions and learn how to eliminate incorrect options and of course, how to attempt the correct ones. In our next video, we're going to cover everything you need to know about inferential and assumption type questions. Now these questions are a little more trickier than the factual ones we saw today, because you're not only required to read the passage, but also between the lines. Read what the author has explicitly stated and also what he has left unsaid but hinted at. But fret not, as we will let you in to a simple yet effective way to demystify these questions and arrive at the correct answer very quickly. So stay hooked on to the GRE RC playlist as we get to the bottom of tricky reading comprehension questions and get them right every single time. If you have any doubts on GRE reading comprehension, or if you have a request for a video that covers any specific topic, then leave that in the comments below and we'll get back to you at the earliest. Also, if you like this video, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up and also share this video with your friends who are preparing for the GRE. Until next time, this is Donna David signing off. Happy learning!